Today we're going to read the Keeping Quilt. When my great-grandma Anna came to America, make sure you follow along in your book with me, okay? When my great-grandma Anna came to America, she wore the same thick overcoat and big boots she had worn for farm work. What is a farm? Farm is where you grow your crops or have animals that you raise. But her family weren't dirt farmers anymore. In New York City, her father's work was hauling things on a wagon, and the rest of the family made artificial flowers all day. Everyone was in a hurry, and it was so crowded, not like in back home Russia. But all the same, it was their home, and most of their neighbors were just like them. All right, turn the page. And her dress was getting too small. After her mother had sewn her a new one, she took her old dress and babushka. You might know what a babushka is. A babushka is like a blanket or a quilt, and you can use it for a bunch of different things, which we're going to see later in this book. Then from a basket of old clothes, she took Uncle V's shirt, Aunt Havla's nightdress, and an apron of Aunt Natasha. You know what an apron is? Something that you wear when you cook. So let's write the form. Babushka. And an apron. We will make a quilt to help us always remember home. Anna's mother said it will be like having the family in back home Russia dance around us at night. Picture. And so it was. Anna's mother invited all the neighborhood ladies. They cut out animals and flowers from the scraps of clothing. Anna kept the needles threaded and handed them to the ladies as they needed them. The border of the quilt was made of Anna's babushka. So what is a border? That's like it goes around the quilt, like the edges or the edges of your paper. So let's write that one down. There they are. It's in their babushka. On Friday nights, Anna's mother would say the prayers that started the Sabbath. The family ate challah and chicken soup. The quilt was the tablecloth. Anna grew up and fell in love with great-grandpa Sasha. To show he wanted to be her husband, he gave Anna a gold coin, a dried flower, and a piece of rock salt, all tied into a linen handkerchief. The gold was for wealth, the flower was for love, and the salt so their lives would have flavor. She accepted the hanky. They were engaged. Under the wedding chuppah, Anna and Sasha promised each other love and understanding. After the wedding, the men and women celebrated separately. So I thought they were celebrating separately. Her great-grandma Carl was born. Anna wrapped her daughter in the quilt. She welcomed her warmly into the world. Carly was given a gift of gold, flour, salt, and bread. Gold so she would never know poverty, a flower so she would always know love, salt so her life would always have flavor, and bread so she would never know hunger. Carly seemed to keep the Sabbath, and she cooked and cleaned and do washing. Married you'll be someday, Anna told Carly. And again, the quilt became a wedding hoopah. You might know what a hoopah is. You know what a hoopah is? Right, hoopah. So hoopah is like this thing they use underneath. They sit underneath it to get married. Mary Ellen called Anna Lady Grandma. She had grown very old and was sick a lot of the time. The quilt kept her legs warm. So now they're using that babushka with the edges, the border on it, as a quilt to cover up with. On Anna's 98th birthday, the cake was a coolish, a rich cake with raisins, candied fruit in it. So what's the coolish? The cake, right? great-grandma Anna died, prayers were said to lift her soul to heaven. My mother, Mary Ellen, was now grown up. When Mary Ellen left home, she took the quilt with her. When she became a bride, the quilt became a huppah. For the first time, friends who were not Jews came to the wedding. My mother wore a suit, but her bouquet was gold and soft. The quilt welcomed me, Patricia, into the world. So the baby Patricia was wrapped in the quilt when she was born, which is a hoopah also. And it was a tablecloth for my first birthday party. So they used it also as a tablecloth. So it was handed down to use for different things. The quilt was a pretend cape when I was in the bull ring, or sometimes a tent in the steaming Amazon jungle. So they made it into a tent so they could use it then too. At my wedding to Enzo Mario, the dancing women danced together. In my bouquet were gold, bread, and salt, and a sprinkle of wine, so I would always know laughter. 20 years ago, I held Tracy Denise in the quilt for the first time. Someday, she will too leave home and she will take the quilt with her. Okay? Let's go back over our words. So we know what a form is. We have animals and you can grow crops and stuff. So they had that when they were back home. Okay? And then a babushka is going to be like a blanket that would turn into a quilt that you're going to use to, you can make different things out of it. You can make a quilt, an apron, a hoopah to be married under. So a hoopah would be the same thing as your babushka. You're going to use those just like you would. Volume level 0, that means no talking. So, you can use your babushka as a blanket, as a quilt, as an apron that you wear when you cook so you don't get anything on your clothes. You know, like when you cooking at the stove or even just putting something in the microwave. You put that on so you don't spill anything on your clothes. Okay? And then your goulash is your raisin cake. So if you bake a cake, you're going to put raisins in it. And it's just a raisin cake. So I think that's all of our words that we covered today. And that is the keeping quilt.